In our last episode, we made some massive progress on our mountains for this area that will be fully custom terrain themed around the Long Dark. We even were able to add some trees and a signal tower up there. And I'm incredibly pleased with that progress. And today we are going to move on and continue with our custom terrain. Now, today my plan is probably not to build more mountains. What I'm going to turn my attention to for this episode is this area from here all around this area. I want to be a frozen lake within our terrain, which is kind of already mostly there for us. Obviously, vanilla terrain generation made this very messy, so it'll require quite a bit of cleaning up, removing these random islands and bits here. Even those floating blocks there, I don't know what those are doing there. So we need to fix the vanilla terrain generation and kind of smooth out and define our edges of the lake. Then there's another problem with this frozen lake. As you can see, the regular vanilla ice, I can see through to the bottom. I can see salmon there, I can see squid, I can see the sand and dirt on the bottom of the lake, which I wouldn't really want to just leave that vanilla to see through the ice here. But I have something in mind so that I do not have to go under the water and fully transform all the terrain under there. That would be a lot of work. Yeah, just going under here and then having to breathe underwater, replace this sand, replace the gravel, and just probably smooth this out and terrain it too, would be very, very difficult, especially with the ice above, because then I need to come out for air, but it's going to be very difficult. So my idea is, instead of sticking with the default normal ice, I'm going to use packed ice, which is not transparent at all, which is perfect here. I can transform the whole surface of this frozen lake into packed ice, and with that, we do not have to worry at all about what it looks like underneath, because we will not be able to see it. It'll be covered with a solid layer of packed ice. So that is my solution, and I'm very glad I came up with that instead of trying to do the landscape underneath the ice. That would be painful. So we're just going to use packed ice, and luckily, to get that much packed ice, there is an ice spikes biome very close to our mountains over there, and this is all packed ice within these ice spikes. So I can just harvest a bunch of packed ice right here. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to harvest a bunch of packed ice so that we can use it for our frozen lake. Alright, I have spent some time gathering some packed ice from over there and have about 5 shulker boxes full of packed ice. I'm not sure if that will be enough, but we will get some, because I'll have to break that whole top layer of ice and I can turn that into some packed ice if I need to as well. But for the time being, we are going to start right now, before I fill in the packed ice, clearing all this stuff that is in my way, these weird islands and floating structures here, and all of this ice. So I'm going to start with that, but luckily I brought a beacon, which will be very helpful with all of this stone I'll have to dig. I really do at some point need to make a wither skeleton farm, which is something I've never made, but that way I can have multiple beacons. Because right now, I just keep moving the one beacon I have back and forth from the different areas that I need it. It would definitely be useful to have more, so I could set some up permanently in certain areas where I need them. Put in the iron, haste 2 on, and now clearing all the stone from these random islands will be so much easier. Oh, yes. Alright, well, I'm going to get to clearing this, and then we can get onto some actual turning this into the proper frozen lake that we want it to be. So I started off clearing this terrain that vanilla Minecraft had messed up. It took more time than I expected. I had to go back all the way back to my home base to go repair some shovels because there was so much dirt to clear. And then I started clearing that top layer of ice. And as you can see, even as I went, the layer of ice underneath started forming, which was helpful for placing the layer of packed ice later on. And I guess I could have just had my whole surface of the lake one block up, and I wouldn't have had to clear this ice, but this is what I did, so oh well. Then I started placing in all the packed ice I had collected earlier, but very quickly realized this was not nearly enough, so I had to go back and collect some more packed ice from the Ice Spikes biome. And then came back and finished off the surface of our frozen lake. And there we have our frozen lake. It took a lot more hours and a lot more packed ice than I was expecting. I had to go back several times during that time lapse to gather more shulker boxes of packed ice. I think in total, I probably used 15 to 16 shulker boxes of packed ice just for this surface of the water. I know it may not be that exciting of progress, just a flat sheet of packed ice, but it did take quite a bit with clearing everything out, and I had to break all the other ice and then replace it with this. Once we get the different mountains and hills like surrounding it, then it will really come together. The one feature that I did put on this frozen lake is this rock kind of sticking up out of the ice. You can imagine it's just a bigger rock that extends down to the bottom of the water and then just kind of sticks up here above the water level. I think it's cool. But this is not all we are going to add to this frozen lake. We are going to add a few structures on top of this frozen lake. And again, I'm pulling this from my inspiration for this area, which is the Long Dark. And they have like little ice fishing huts on top of the ice, which they are just sitting on top of the ice. There's no like structural supports under them. So I think the idea is they're very small and easy to set up on the ice when it's frozen, but they can be taken down before the ice thaws. So I've been playing around in creative to kind of design something. I thought that full blocks for the walls would be too thick and make the fishing hut look a little too bulky, because I want these to be kind of small. So what I came up with is using mainly shelves and trap doors to make very thin walls. And then on the inside, I can still have like a 3-block interior and then have walls around it. But that is my plan, to build a few of these on the ice still this episode. Again, I have these kind of designed, but I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to place them or how many I'm going to do. I have enough resources for 3 of these little fishing huts, but we will see how many and where I want to space them out on here. So I'm going to get to building those, and then we can check them out and talk about them. Alright, we got our 3 little fishing huts. All of them are basically identical, so I'll just show you one up close. So again, how I showed you, I used the shelves and trapdoors for the walls just to keep it relatively thin on the walls. The roof was a bit of a challenge trying to make it look like snow, because I used half slabs and only on this level could I actually put like snow, what do you call them? The snow layers on top of the block. Here I couldn't, so I chose to use diorite for the roof still to make it look white and snowy even if I couldn't put the actual snow layers on top. And then I used these banners again, like I did for the train depot over there, just to create that like snowy overhang icicle kind of look. And we go inside. We have to crouch to fit in here. We have our little ice fishing hut interior, a little furnace here, which will kind of keep it warm in here as you're trying to fish. We got like some cabinets, some shelves here for storage. So just a nice little cozy place to come in here and do some ice fishing, kind of sheltered from the outside. While we're in here, whoops, might as well do some ice fishing. I wonder if I'll get anything good. This is actually, believe it or not, the first time I have done any kind of fishing in this Minecraft world. The absolute first time. And I'm going ice fishing. Okay, come on. Come on. I got a pufferfish in a frozen lake. Another pufferfish. Wow. I don't really... Okay, it's been a long time since I've looked into the science of fishing. I know it has changed over the years, but is it different fishing in a little hole like this rather than in like more open water? I really don't know. It does seem to be working, but I'm not all up to date on all that stuff. Probably changed with like the update aquatic or something, I think. I think that's enough fishing for today. Let me know what you guys think of our little fishing huts and our frozen lake here. All the other ones are pretty much the same. I just kind of moved around these banners, the overhangs off the side, to kind of vary it up a little bit. Another thing around the edges of this lake, I kind of want to create some decoration around it. One thing that in the long dark it has is a lot of like cattails or just like plants along the edge. Don't have a lot of good things that would like represent what I'm thinking of. I know I've seen this, that people use glass panes and candles to make cattails. It's so hard to place stuff on top of glass panes. I'm not sure if this will work for what we want. From a distance, I don't think those look too bad. Because the problem is, I was thinking like firefly bushes might look good kind of next to these cattails, kind of make them look a little more bushy, but obviously you can't place things like firefly bushes on ice itself. So I'm kind of limited in what I can put here, but I think if we put enough of them here with like glass panes and stuff, I think it could work. But that's something, maybe if you guys have any feedback on this, let me know your ideas for kind of edge of the water plants, or if you think these look good. How do they look from the distance, way over here? You can barely even see them from over here. They kind of just fade into the background, so it'd be more like an up-close detail. And that is about all I have time for in today's episode. It's a bit of a shorter one again. Not so much big build progress, but again, laying the foundation framework for our terrain and being able to do more work with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me know any feedback or thoughts you have. I would love to hear it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye!